Hi everybody, this is Meg with Mama Bear Yoga, and if you are doing this video but have not yet tried out our Energy Day 6, go ahead and pause, go to that one first because it explains our sun salutation practice in a lot more detail. This video is just going to take you through sun salutation A as opposed to sun salutation A and B, and is a challenging one but also one that will ask you to find grace and patience within the effort. So we'll go ahead and get started. Come to standing in mountain pose. You can reach your hands down towards the earth. Deep breaths. Release any tension that you've gathered in your shoulders throughout the day. Reach your arms up and overhead, and maybe clap them together. Now fold, coming to slide your hands up to your knees, flat back. Deep breath, and now come to a plank pose. Rock onto your toes, lower halfway in chaturanga. And now flip your feet as you rise into upward facing dog. Sinking your weight back as you come to downward facing dog. Downward facing dog is a resting pose, but it's a very active resting pose. So if your arms are shaking or tired here, you're absolutely normal. But even though this pose can be a lot of effort within the ease, take deep breaths here. Feel the strength of your heart, of your lungs, of your arms and feet supporting you today. Bend your knees and step or hop up towards your hands. Then slide your hands to your knees, flat back. Release. Reach your arms up and overhead. Maybe clap them together. Big stretch here. Lower your hands. Mountain pose. Reach your arms up again towards the sky. Fold over your legs. Slide your hands to your knees or to your hips. And we'll jump down to plank. Bend your elbows, lower halfway for chaturanga. Flip your feet and rise up for up dog. And sink your hips up and back for downward facing dog. 3 breaths here. Inhaling and exhaling. Finding your strength even as you feel the effort that you are putting in. Finding grace even in a challenging moment. And if you can find grace when the going gets tough on your mat, then you can absolutely do that off your mat. Step or hop or walk up to your hands. Slide your hands to your feet, to your knees or your shins. Nice and slow, rise back up, reaching your arms up and overhead towards the sun. Extend your arms down, mountain pose. And I'll go ahead and turn so you can get a different perspective here. Fold down. If you fall off balance, it's okay. Slide your hands to your shins, and now you'll jump to a plank. Bend your elbows, rock forward and lower halfway for chaturanga. Flip your feet and rise up for upward facing dog, and sink your hips down and back or up and back for downward facing dog. Sometimes it helps me to find ease in a challenging sequence like this to close my eyes for a beat. So in down dog, that's when I take that moment to do so. Inhaling, exhaling. Bend your knees, jump up to the top. Slide your hands to your shins. Lower them down. Rise up, Arms overhead. Lower your hands for mountain pose. And then reach your arms up and overhead once again. Fold forward. Slide your hands to your shins. And we'll jump back to plank pose. Once again, lower halfway for chaturanga. Flip your feet for upward facing dog. And sink your hips up and back for downward facing dog. Breathe in, breathe out. Feeling the air around you. Sensing, but maybe not reacting to whatever sounds are around you. Slide your hands to your shins once you've jumped up towards your hands, and then rise up for mountain pose. Hands back to your heart. Reach your arms up and overhead towards the sky. Fold down over your feet. Slide your hands back to your shins. And jump out into plank pose. Bend your arms, lower halfway in chaturanga. Flip your feet for upward facing dog. Sink your hips up and back for downward facing dog. Breathe in and breathe out. Collecting your strength, your power here. Rock onto your toes and then step or hop up to your hands. Slide your hands to your shins and then back down to the earth. I'll change so you get a different perspective here. Reaching your hands up and overhead. Stretching. Lower your hands for mountain pose. Inhale, arms come up and overhead. And fold down over your legs. Slide your hands up your shins. And then you'll jump back to plank pose. From plank, lower halfway in chaturanga. Flip your feet for upward dog and then sink back to downward facing dog. Deep breaths in and out. Feel the warmth or the coolness of the air around you. Maybe you're practicing where you can see the sun, but if not, know that you're still bringing energy and light to your body, to your mind with this sun salutation practice. Hop forward towards your hands, and I'll change so you get another perspective. Slide your hands up to your knees, and then from there reach all the way up and overhead, stretching your arms high towards the sun. Lower them down for mountain pose. Arms come up and overhead. You're doing such a great job here as you slide your hands to your shins. You've only got about 5 more minutes in this practice. You can do it, even if it's hard, even if it's tough. Lower halfway down for chaturanga and then flip for upward facing dog. Sink your feet or sink your body back to down dog. The repetitions of sun salutations, the fact that it's just these same poses again and again, can also help with managing anxiety, because you don't have to think too hard. You know the pose that's coming. You know the pose that you just did. And when you do a lot of these in a row, it really does become quite a workout, but it also brings you a sense of peace. Hop up towards your hands or step towards your hands. Slide your hands to your shins. Release. And then rise all the way up, reaching your arms up and overhead. And now float them down to mountain pose. Deep breaths. Arms go up towards the sky. Folding forward. Slide your hands to your knees. And jump forward or back to plank. Lower halfway in chaturanga. Flip your feet in upward facing dog. And send your hips up and back for downward facing dog. Breathing in and out. You're in the home stretch of our Sun Salutations A practice today. Stay focused, stay in the moment, treating each pose as if it were the first time you were doing it. Step or hop up towards your hands. If you fall over, it's okay, like I did there. Slide your hands to your shins. Release. Reach your arms up and overhead. And slide them back down to mountain pose. Reach up and overhead once again. Fold forward over your legs. Slide your hands up to your shins. And jump down to plank pose. Lower halfway for chaturanga. Flip your feet for upward facing dog. And sink your hips up and back for downward facing dog. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Bend your knees, step or hop up towards your hands. Slide your hands to your shins. Release. Reach your arms up and overhead, stretching them towards the sun that we've been saluting in this practice today. And go ahead and sink your weight down into a yogic squat as we start to cool it down. You can press your elbows into your knees. Plant one hand and stretch the other to the sky if a twist feels good today. And then switch, planting the other hand and stretching the other one to the sky. You can then bring your weight to sit in a cross-legged seat and do a seated simple twist to one side, stretching out your back and shoulders, and then the other. Wonderful. Maybe you reach your hands up one more time, then bring them back with bent elbows to stretch out your shoulders a bit and your neck, lowering your chin. I bring my hands to my heart and I say namaste. Thank you so much for spending this time with Mama Bear Yoga, and I wish you a lovely and sunny rest of your day or night.